Livestream with no viewers. Mia Thompson had always lived a quiet life. A reclusive art student living alone in Denver, Colorado, she spent most of her time indoors, painting in dimly lit corners of her one-bedroom apartment or scrolling endlessly through obscure internet forums. She preferred silence over conversation, darkness over light, and solitude over society. Her quiet world shifted one evening when she received an unusual alert from her security software. Remote access attempt detected. Webcam active. She blinked at the screen, confused. She hadn't used her webcam in months. Probably just a glitch, she thought, but curiosity whispered louder than her instincts, and she checked her webcam history. Someone had accessed it for over 3 hours the previous night. Without her knowing, a cold ripple traveled down her spine. She installed a tracker, nothing too sophisticated, just something she'd learned from one of the many cyber privacy forums she frequented. It traced usage logs, logged IPs, and recorded screen access. The next night, the alert came again. Same time. Same remote activation. The tracker logged a Tor address. Deep web. She opened it. A page with a black background and blood red font flickered into view. It had only one video window. The title above it simply said, "Live." She pressed play. The screen showed her room right then. Right there. The feed was coming from the ceiling corner, opposite her bed. Her breath caught. There was no camera installed there. She checked again. Nothing. She unplugged everything, smashed her webcam, reset her laptop, and spent the night sleepless, curled up in her hallway. But the next night, the stream was back. She didn't open it this time, but she knew it was active. The site would blink a red dot on her taskbar whether she opened the browser or not. On the fourth night, the stream was of a different room, a child's room, with pastel wallpaper, a toy chest, and a girl no older than 10 curled up in bed. She watched in silence, frozen. The camera was again placed high up, cornered perfectly. At first, there was nothing. Then, a shadow moved. Not from the girl. Not from any object. Just a flicker of something dark shifting in the lower left corner. Almost like a human outline, but wrong. It was too tall, too thin, and had no visible face. The girl stirred but didn't wake up. The figure moved closer to the bed, then vanished. The screen went black. Mia slammed the lid of her laptop down. She considered calling the police. But what would she say? That she accessed a hidden dark web stream showing real-time footage from a child's bedroom? That there was a shadow? She had no proof. The stream had no comments. No view count. Just live. It became a pattern. Each night, a different room. A different person. Always asleep. Always unaware. Always filmed from the same high corner. Always with the dark figure, closer each time. Then one night, the stream loaded and it was her room again. But she wasn't in it yet. The bed was empty. The light was off. But something stood at the foot of the bed. The camera trembled. Mia backed out of the site, threw her laptop out the window, and moved out the next morning. She changed cities. New apartment. New devices. No internet for weeks. Until one day, checking a public computer at the library, she saw a tab auto-load in the browser's history. Live, the watcher comes when you're offline. It opened by itself. The feed showed her new apartment. The bed. The door. And her. Sleeping. A shape, too tall and too thin, was standing by her side. The auction that never closed. Ethan Morales never meant to get involved. He was just a cybersecurity intern working long nights in a firm downtown Seattle. Most of his job consisted of tracing small-scale phishing scams and managing breach reports for lazy clients who reused the same passwords across every platform. He was good at it, but bored. That changed when a dormant ransomware case he was reviewing led him to an active Bitcoin address still receiving microtransactions, the kind typically used to mask high-value deals by splitting them up. Nothing unusual at first, until he noticed one address funneling money to an ancient tour site that had supposedly been dead for years. Curious, Ethan bypassed the warnings and opened it. It was an old auction house styled like a 2000s eBay knockoff but far more sinister. Instead of products, the listings were coded references: lot number 12, Wildfire's Dancer, lot number 17, Northern Hymn. Most were marked as sold. Except for one. Lot number 21, Silence is Loyalty. Bidding, closed. Status, in transit. There were no images. No usernames. No location data. Just a cryptic phrase and a countdown that reset every 48 hours. Ethan thought it was a sick joke. Then he noticed that each time the timer hit 0, the IP log he was tracing jumped, triangulating to different cities across the US. He dug deeper and found the coordinates were all stops along a route used by a private refrigerated logistics company. Hidden in plain sight. He flagged the activity, notified his supervisor, and called a contact in the FBI. They responded with vague warnings and asked him to drop it. Said it was being handled. He didn't. He waited for the next reset and drove out to the coordinate himself. An empty truck lot outside Boise, Idaho. One of the trailers was running, humming quietly in the cold dusk. He approached it, heart pounding, and peeked through the rear latch. What he saw would haunt him forever. Cots. Chains. Buckets. Food wrappers. A camera mounted in the corner, blinking red. He backed away and called the FBI again. They arrived hours later. The trailer was gone. No trace. The next day, the auction listing vanished. 2 days later, a new one appeared. Lot number 22, Trust No Sounds. Same layout. Same timer. Same route. Only this time, Ethan's name showed up in the site's source code hidden in the metadata. And under status observer marked. Ethan went missing a week later. His apartment was locked from the inside. No signs of struggle. Just a single sheet of paper taped to his monitor. Some silence is chosen. Yours was not. Thread 56. It started on a forum for digital ghost stories, the kind of place where people post creepypasta, art clues, or urban legend sightings. The site was called Foglayer and had a small but loyal base of readers, most of whom believed in nothing they read. Until one day, a thread was posted by a new user, Thread 56, "If you see this, you've already been marked." Everyone assumed it was an attempt at viral storytelling, another alternate reality game, but it was odd. The thread had no images, no fancy formatting, no clever username. Just a plain post. "Don't look for me. If this thread loaded for you, the countdown has begun. Close your mirrors. Do not acknowledge the knocking. Whatever you do, do not try to help me. It's watching from behind your reflection." People mocked it at first. A few joked that they heard knocks or saw shadows. Someone even posted a parody thread. But within days, the original poster, username Reflection13, stopped logging in. Admins claimed the account was deactivated from an IP that no longer existed. Then the odd reports began. Users who had commented on Thread 56 began disappearing from the forums. One by one. Their usernames vanished. Their posts removed. All traces gone. Some thought it was a glitch, others said the mods were doing it as a joke. One user, Specular Ghost, live streamed an investigation. They printed the thread, read it out loud, and invited viewers to try the ritual. At first, nothing happened. Then, on camera, their lights flickered. The video glitched. 1 frame, just one, showed something standing behind them. A tall, jagged silhouette. Black eyes. No face. The stream cut off. That user was never seen again. Foglayer eventually deleted thread 56. Claimed it was dangerous. That no one should repost it. But it kept coming back. Not as a thread but in image links, in comment metadata, embedded in user BIOS. Some said it spread like a virus, attached to the act of reading. People began seeing things in their mirrors. Not immediately, but slowly. A flicker at the edge of their eye. A shape that didn't move with their reflection. Some claimed they heard knocking, always 3 knocks, just after 3 a.m. Then came the countdowns. Reflected in the mirrors. Glowing numbers ticking down behind foggy glass. You couldn't see it directly. But if you took a picture, there it was. The numbers always hit 0 after 7 days. No one ever reported what happened next. Because those who reached 0 never posted again. And now, even mentioning thread 56 was enough to be marked. People found new mirrors in their homes they didn't buy. Antique ones. Old. Cracked. Inside, a figure always waiting. Sometimes smiling. Sometimes not. The lost room in Illinois. The police report said the address didn't exist. In early 2022, a programmer named Kayla Voss rented a small farmhouse in the outskirts of Quincy, Illinois. She was working remotely for a cryptography startup and wanted peace and quiet. The property was old but newly renovated. 2 stories. A cellar. Surrounded by empty fields and 1 paved road. The listing showed 4 rooms, 2 upstairs, a living room, and an office space. But when Kayla moved in, she found a 5th door. It was in the upstairs hallway, wedged between the 2 listed bedrooms. The door was flush with the wall, as if it had been covered up and recently uncovered. The handle was icy cold. When she opened it, it revealed a small, narrow room with no windows and stained wallpaper. The only furniture was a chair and a wall-mounted shelf with an old cassette player. The light flickered. She called the rental agency. They insisted there were only 4 rooms. The property blueprints? No record of a 5th room. The utilities? No electric wiring on that side of the wall. Yet it was there. And every time Kayla opened the door, the inside of the room seemed different. Sometimes the wallpaper had tears. Other times, it was covered in writing. Faded words. Names. Dates. Then she found the tapes. Each night, a new cassette would appear on the shelf. Unlabeled. When played, they contained grainy audio, sometimes voices whispering in static, sometimes distant screams, sometimes just knocking. Then came the tape with her voice on it. It was unmistakably her screaming. Pleading. The sound of something dragging her away. She tried to record it onto her computer, but the file corrupted every time. After that night, she started getting emails from someone using an untraceable Tor-based address. The subject lines were the same every time: "Don't let them tape you." The body text was encrypted, but each decrypted message gave coordinates. When she looked them up, they corresponded to missing persons cases across the U.S., all from rural areas, all unsolved. She contacted the FBI. They brushed it off. Local police visited the house and found nothing unusual. The 5th room wasn't there when they searched. But when Kayla returned alone, it was waiting. The final tape appeared the next week. It was dated 3 days into the future. This time, she didn't listen to it. She drove to a nearby motel, locked the tape in a safe, and tried to sleep. That night, the motel mirror fogged up without steam. A handprint appeared on the glass. When she checked out the next morning and returned home, the house was cold and dark. The front door was unlocked. The 5th room's door was wide open. Inside, the cassette player had been smashed. The shelf was gone. And on the wall, written in what looked like rust or blood, If you won't listen to the tape, you'll become it. Kayla vanished 2 days later. Only one trace was found, a final encrypted email sent from her laptop to herself, decrypted by police weeks after. There is no fifth room. There never was. But if you see it, it sees you back. The farmhouse has since been rented to new tenants. They say there are 4 rooms. Until they count